Hello guys, welcome back to the Techno Wizard. So this is the second part of the SSC previous year question paper discussion, in which I'll be discussing from the question number 21 till the question number 40. Okay, so let's get started. Also follow us on Facebook, Telegram, Instagram and the YouTube channel for the latest job notifications and other important update. Okay, so let's see our first question. The SI unit of the magnetic flux is Weber, because we know that Henry is the SI unit of inductance, okay, and Coulomb is the SI unit of charge, whereas Tesla is the SI unit of magnetic flux density, okay, which is given by B, which is equal to phi by A, and we know that the SI unit of flux is Weber and area is in meter square. So Weber per meter square, or which we also called it as a Tesla, is the SI unit of magnetic flux density. So for this question, option D is the right answer, which is Weber. Next question is, the relative permeability of a diamagnetic material is. So we know that different type of the magnetic materials are, like diamagnetic materials we have. So we have diamagnetic material, also we have paramagnetic material and ferromagnetic material. Okay, so if we talk about the differences between them in terms of the relative permeability, so the relative permeability of the diamagnetic material will be less than 1, and the relative permeability in case of the paramagnetic material will be slightly more than 1. But in case of the ferromagnetic material, it does not have a constant relative permeability value, so it does not have a constant value. It changes, it may increase or decrease also. Okay, and if we talk about in terms of the susceptibility, which is denoted by X, so the susceptibility for the diamagnetic material is small and it's negative, but for the paramagnetic material the susceptibility is small and positive, and for the ferromagnetic material it is large and positive. So in the question they have asked the relative permeability of the diamagnetic material, so it is less than 1, so option C is the right answer. Next question is, which of the following is a reciprocal of reluctance? So we know that the reluctance is the opposition offered in a magnetic circuit to the magnetic flux. It is in the electrical circuit we have the resistance, similarly in the magnetic circuit we have the reluctance. So we know that the mmf is given by the flux into the reluctance. Okay, so mmf is denoted by Fm, flux is phi, into reluctance is denoted by S. So the reciprocal of the reluctance will be permeance. Okay, so option C is the right answer. Next question is, which of the following is a correct formula for the permeance? So we know that the mmf is equal to flux into reluctance, so from here we will obtain the value of reluctance as mmf by phi. So the permeance is the reciprocal of reluctance. Okay, so which is equal to 1 by S. So the formula for the permeance will be flux by mmf. So option C is the right answer. Now next question is, determine the intensity of the magnetization in the ampere per meter of a magnet when it has a pole strength of 60 ampere meter and a pole area of 20 square meter. So we know that intensity of magnetization is also called as a magnetic field intensity, denoted by H, is given by pole strength by the pole area. Okay, so already in the question pole strength is given, which is 60 ampere meter, and area is 20 meter square. So after simplification we will get 3 ampere per meter. Okay, so option D is the right answer. Next question is, what will be the magnitude of the induced EMF in volt in a coil that has 200 square loop, each of the side 5 centimeter, and placed normal to the magnetic field. The magnetic field increases at the rate of 4 Weber per meter square. So by seeing the unit, we can identify that this is magnetic flux density B, which is given as 4 Weber per meter square. Also 200 square loop, it means this is a number of turns, so number of turns is also given, which is 200, and each side is given, it means length of a square loop is given, which is equal to 5 centimeter. So we have to convert this into the meter, so it will be equal to 0.05 meter. So now the induced EMF formula is given by NBA. So this is the formula, okay, for the induced EMF. So we know everything, so let us substitute. So number of turns is 200, B is 4, and this will be equal to area. So this is a square loop and we have length, so area of a square is L square, okay. So area will be equal to L square or the side square, so this will be equal to 0.05 square. So after simplification we will get 2 volt. Okay, so option B is the right answer. So this is our next question. What will be the value of the current in ampere in a 40 centimeter long solenoid in the free space? It has 400 turns and the 2 centimeter of the diameter and produces a magnetic field of 4 millitesla at its center. So first of all, in the question, length is given, which is 40 centimeters, so we will convert this into meter, which is equal to 0.4 meter, and this is in free space. So in case of free space, the relative permeability is given by 1, number of turns is 400, and also the diameter is given, which is equal to 2 centimeter, so this will be equal to 0.02 meter, and also it is producing a magnetic field, it means B value is given, which is equal to 4 millitesla. So now we have to find out current. So we know that B is equal to mu into H, so we have to find out the value of current. Also we know that H is a magnetic field intensity, which is given by Ni by L. So let us substitute the value. B value is 4 millitesla, so 4 into 10 to the power minus 3. Mu is, so we know that mu is equal to mu naught into mu of r, so mu of r is 1 and mu naught value is 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7 Henry per meter. So let us substitute here. So this will be equal to 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7 into number of turns is 400. We have to find out the value of current I divided by length is 0.4. So after simplification, the value of current is coming equal to 10 by pi, which is equal to 3.18 ampere. So option C is the right answer. Now next question is, what will be the self-inductance in the Henry of a 2-meter long air core solenoid if the diameter of the solenoid is 25 centimeter and it has 600 turns? So we know that self-inductance of a coil is given by N square mu naught mu of r A by L. So everything is given, number of turns is 600, so this will be equal to 600 into 600 into mu naught value is 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7, and mu of r in case of air core solenoid is 1, and area, so we will consider the circular core solenoid, so area will be given by pi r square, which is also equal to pi d square by 4, so this is equal to pi, and diameter will be equal to, so we have to convert in the meter, so this will be equal to 0.25 square by 4, okay, into length. So length is given, which is 2 meters, so this is will be equal to 2. So let us simplify and we will obtain as 111033.05 into 10 to the power minus 7 Henry, so which can also be written as 0.011 Henry. So option A is the right answer. Next question is, what will be the mutual inductance in the millihenry between the two coils if a current of 2 sine 100 pi t passes through the one of the coil, which induces a maximum EMF of 10 pi volt in the second coil. So we know that, suppose this is our two coils, okay. So in the first coil the current I1 is flowing, which is inducing a maximum EMF in the second coil. So this will be equal to E2 maximum, whose value is given 10 pi volt. So now we have to find out the value of the mutual inductance. Okay, so we know that the voltage induced is given by L di by dt. So E2 maximum, which is the EMF induced in the second coil, will be equal to, this is due to the mutual induction, this will be equal to d by dt of, because of the current flowing in the coil 1. So E2 maximum value is given, this is equal to 10 pi, this is equal to, we have to find out the value of m, into d by dt of I1 value is 2 sine 100 pi t. So let us differentiate. So this will be equal to 10 pi is equal to m into 2 cos 100 pi t into 100 pi. So this is E2 maximum. So cos maximum value is, so maximum value of cos is 1. So this will be equal to 1. So after simplification we are getting the value of m as 10 pi divided by, this will be equal to 200 pi. So this is equal to 1 by 20 henry, but we have to find out the answer in the millihenry. So this will be equal to 1000 by 20 millihenry, which is equal to 50 millihenry. So option C is the right answer. Next question is, determine the magnitude of the EMF in volt induced between the axis of the rotation and the rim of the disk when the disk of the diameter 40 cm rotates with an angular velocity of 40 revolutions per second and placed in a magnetic field of 1 Tesla acting parallel to the rotation of the disk. So first of all, the diameter is given, which is 40 centimeter, is equal to 0.4 meter. So this is not the angular velocity, because we know that angular velocity is denoted by omega and its unit is radian per second, but this is given in revolution per second. So revolution per second is n. Okay, n is the revolution per minute. So we know that omega will be equal to 2 pi n. So from here we will find out the value of omega, which is angular velocity. So this will be equal to 2 into 3.14 is, n is given as 40. So we will obtain the omega in the radian per second. Okay, so after simplification we will get 251.2 radian per second. Also magnetic field is given, which is 1 Tesla. So let us obtain the value of radius, which is equal to d by 2. So this will be equal to 20 centimeter, which is equal to 0.2 meter. So the EMF induced, or the magnitude of the EMF, is given by half of omega br square. Okay, so let us substitute the value. So this will be equal to half into omega is 251.2 into 1 into radius is 0.2 square. So after simplification we are getting 5.024, which is nearly equal to 5 volt. So option D is the right answer. Now next question is, what will be the instantaneous value of the alternating current in ampere, which is represented by I of t is equal to 20 sine 13 t minus 20 ampere when the value of t is 5 second. Okay, so it means we have to find out the instantaneous value of the current at t is equal to 5 second. So let's simply substitute the value of t is equal to 5. We will get the answer. This will be equal to 20 sine 13 into 5 minus 20. So this is equal to 20 sine, this will be equal to 65 minus 20. So this will be equal to 20 sine, this will be equal to 45, and we know that sine 45 is 1 by root 2. So this will be equal to 10 root 2, which is equal to 14.14 ampere. So option C is the right answer. Next question is, what will what is a peak value of the alternating voltage in volt having an average value of 180 volt? So we know that for the alternating voltage, the average value is given by 2 Vm by pi. So this is the formula for the average voltage in case of the sine wave or the alternating wave, and this is also the formula in case of the full wave rectifier. Okay, so average value is given, which is equal to 180. This will be equal to 2 by pi. We have to find out the value of maximum voltage. So V maximum will be equal to, this is will be equal to 90 pi. So this is equal to 282.57 volt. So option B is the right answer. Next question is, the capacitive reactance of a circuit is 60 ohm when it is supplied with the frequency of 50 hertz. What will be the value of the capacitive reactance in ohm of the same circuit if it is supplied with a 60 hertz source? So it means in the question XC1 is given, which is 60 ohm for a frequency of 50 hertz. So we have to calculate XC2 for the frequency 60 hertz. So we know that the capacitive reactance is given by 1 by C omega, which is equal to 1 by C. Omega is 2 pi f. It means the capacitive reactance is inversely proportional to the frequency. Okay, so this can be written as XC1 by XC2 will be equal to F2 by F1 because it is inversely proportional. So XC1 value is 60. We have to find out the value of XC2, and frequency, this is 60 by 50. So from here we are getting the value of XC2 as 50 ohm. So option A is the right answer. Now next question is, a parallel RLC circuit is being supplied by a DC source as shown in the figure below. What is the value of the current flowing through the capacitor in ampere? So we can see that here a DC source is connected. So for the DC source, let us first calculate the value of the inductive reactance, which is given by omega into L. So for the DC source, we know that frequency is 0, so omega will be equal to 2 pi fl. So we are getting the value of xl as 0. It means the inductor will act as short circuit for the DC source. Similarly, the capacitive reactance is given by 1 by C omega, which is equal to 1 by 2 pi fc. So if we substitute f is equal to 0, the x of c value will be equal to infinite. It means the capacitor will behave as open circuit for the DC source. So as the capacitor is behaving as open circuit for the DC source, no current will flow through it. Okay, so option A is the right answer. Next question is, calculate the value of the phase angle in the degree in a series RC circuit having a resistance of 50 ohm and the capacitive reactance of 86.6 ohm when supplied with a frequency of 50 hertz. So we have to find out the phase angle. So we know that tan theta is given by the relation x of c by r, which is equal to 86.6 by 50. So this will be equal to 1.732, which is equal to root 3. So from here theta will be equal to tan inverse of root 3. So we are getting the value of theta as 60 degree. So option D is the right answer. Next question is, what is the total value of the total impedance in ohm of a tank circuit working at the resonant frequency having a capacitance of 0.01 millifarad and a inductance of 0.01 millihenry? So we know that in a tank circuit, the inductor and the capacitor, they are connected in parallel and it is connected with the source. So under the resonant frequency, the tank circuit will have a impedance of, which is given by Z dynamic is equal to L by CR. So for the ideal tank circuit, the resistance value will be equal to 0. So the impedance of the tank circuit will be equal to infinite. It means it will act as open circuit at the resonant frequency. So Z dynamic, we are getting the value as infinite. So option D is the right answer. Next question is, calculate the time in the second taken by a series RL circuit having a inductance of 0.6 Henry and the resistance of 30 ohm to reach a steady state value. So in order to reach the steady state value, it will take 5 time constant, because time constant is defined as a time taken to reach 63.7% of the final value. So in order to reach the steady state value, it will take 5 time constant, and the value of the time constant in case of RL circuit is given by L by R. So let us substitute here. So time constant will be equal to L by R, so this will be equal to 5 into 0.6 by 30. So this will be equal to 0.1 second it will take to reach the steady state value. Next question is, which of the following is not correct about a star connected balanced three-phase circuit? So we know that in the star connection is like this. Okay, so suppose this is R phase, this is Y phase, and this is phase B, and this will be our neutral. Okay, so the phase current is equal to the line current. We know that in the star connection is given by the relation VL is equal to root 3 V phase, and in the star line current will be equal to phase current. It means first option is the phase current is equal to the line current, so this option is right. The phase voltage is less than the line voltage, so from here we can find out the value of phase voltage is VL by root 3, so it is less than the line voltage, so this is also right. The system does not contain a neutral point, so this is a wrong statement. Neutral is absent for the delta connected system, but it is there in case of star connected. Next is, it is a 4-wire system. This is also right. So third statement or the third option is wrong, so this will be the correct answer. Next question is, a three-phase delta connected system is supplied with a line voltage of 400 volt. The value of the phase current is 70 ampere. What is the power in the kilowatt consumed by the system if the current lagged the voltage by the 60 degree? So we know that the power in case of the three-phase system is given by root 3 VLIL cos theta, and in the delta connected system we know that the line voltage will be equal to phase voltage, and the line current will be equal to root 3 times of I phase. So let us find out the value of the power. So this will be equal to root 3. In the question, line voltage is given, which is equal to 400 volt. So line current will be equal to root 3. Phase current value is given, which is 70 ampere, and cos of theta is the angle between the voltage and current, which is equal to 60. So this will be equal to 400 into 70 into 3, and cos 60 is 1 by 2. So this will be equal to 42,000 watt. So we have to find out the answer in kilowatt, so this will be equal to 42 kilowatt. So option B is the right answer. Next question is, what is the apparent power of a three-phase star connected system having a line voltage of 250 volt and the line current of 40 ampere, and the phase difference between the voltage and the current is 36.87 degree? So we know that apparent power in case of a three-phase system is given by 3 V phase I phase, which is also equal to root 3 VL IL. Okay, also the SI unit of the apparent power will be in kVA, so option A and option C can easily be eliminated. So let us substitute. This will be equal to root 3 into VL is 250, also the line current is given, so this will be equal to 1732.0.5. so we have to find out the answer in kVA, so this will be equal to 17.32 kVA is the unit of apparent power. Okay, so it means we are getting option D as the right answer. So Thank you guys for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe to the Technovizard channel.